This is what they often do when you're dealing with a toxic narcissistic sibling. So we know constant competition, always having the one up, and also constant belittling your character, your identity, and your successes. You make a success, they're going to have something negative to say. Overtly, covertly, sometimes very subtle with their remarks or very open with their remarks, with them coming out saying, I just don't like the fact that you have something that I don't have, or just saying things that are very dehumanizing to you, which should alert you that you're dealing with a toxic sibling. A common sign of that is constantly belittling. Any achievements you make, they minimize it. Anything that is goal-oriented related to you, they sarcastically, in sarcasm, they're really good at sarcasm, with throwing shade to minimize your character, to minimize your identity, to minimize your success. Frequent criticism, often putting you down. They make you feel small through sarcasm, jokes, belittle your identity, belittle your achievements, almost in a way where it's dehumanizing. It's not normal for a sibling to do so. Telling your personal business to others. And the only reason why they're telling it something that's so sacred between you and them, because they want a reaction. They live for the moment to discredit who you are. And you confront them and say, why do you go and exploit me or tell my business? Only for them to deflect, have toxic amnesia, or turn it right back around on you. Personal business. Something you told in secret. Everybody know your business. And that came from your sibling. What is loyalty? Another common sign that is often common among narcissistic siblings is triangulation. Like, they will often pull others into you all's conflict. Constant. Could be a father, could be a mother, could be another family member, could be a friend. They always need someone to vouch. And what this does, it creates more tension. Because often the people that they triangulate or use triangulation with will not address the concern, will not address the toxicity, or is in on the chaos and loves the drama and loves the toxicity. So again, it's a lose-lose situation when they triangulate and bring others into you all's conflict. If you were raised in a narcissistic home environment, especially with narcissistic parents, it is more than likely one of those siblings will pick up those narcissistic characteristics. They're going to have the same characteristics as those toxic narcissistic parents, because we learn off of modeling behavior and you learn off of the home environment. So it's very common that if you were raised in a dysfunctional narcissistic home environment, it is likely for one of your siblings to be narcissistic. It is very likely for one of your siblings to be narcissistic. A toxic narcissistic sibling, they've studied you. That's why the things that they tell you is so piercing, because they know the things that trigger you. They know your insecurities. That's why it's a dangerous relationship to be in. They grew up with you. At one point in time, y'all were best friends. And if someone will go out of their way to entice you, to trigger you, it's deeper than just, we don't get along. There's hostility there. There's jealousy there. There's envy there. And I will do anything in my power to sabotage your life. And that's a dangerous situation to be in when you have a narcissistic, toxic sibling. When I wrote this book, You Are No Longer Your Sibling's Keeper, I put a chapter in this book specifically for parents who like to stay out of drama. So in this book, if you're dealing with toxic siblings, especially when you have addressed this concern amongst the family members and your parents are aware and they deflect or they minimize or they gaslight you and make you feel as if there's no competition or there's no issue between your siblings, at that point you need to look at the whole family and how they're in cahoots with each other. And I often tell people who find themselves in toxic dynamics with narcissistic siblings, always look back at how your mother and your father got along with their siblings. sometimes those behaviors and those common settings has become their norm. So they don't know how to diffuse or regulate this tension that you have between your sibling, because that's all they know too. That's going to help you understand that there's no change coming from this, because that's my parents' dynamic too. They don't get along with their siblings. This has been like this for the last couple decades, for the past 2 or 3 generations. A lot of the things that can help you break free from this toxic cycle is to observe personalities, characteristics, and behaviors. Not just with your sibling, but the family as well, including your mother and father. 9 times out of 10, that's learned pattern behavior. If you're having issues with your siblings and you're trying to make an understanding, a logic understanding of this is the book to get. You're no longer your sibling's keeper. I'm not responsible for you. And the reason why I titled that is because the people who are often dealing with toxic siblings, they feel burdened and they feel guilty, as if it's their responsibility to mend this relationship, and it's one-sided. There's no more of me minimizing behavior, looking over behavior. It is what it is, and I'm not responsible for mending this one-sided relationship.